Alright everybody, welcome back to S14 for Div 1 from our name at the Canadian Grand Prix. My name is LT Indigo and joined by me is Energy Dan. Not too bad, I'm looking forward to this 18-minute session qualifying. Yeah, last time I had a race at the Canadian Grand Prix, I think in real life was the 2011 Grand Prix, if I want to be correct on that without thinking back too much, because obviously we had that 5 hour delay back when the rules were as well, modified as it was nowadays. Mansell, people say you can't. Yeah, Mansell says you can't hear. He can't hear you. Right, so as soon as Dan sorted the setters out, so hopefully you can hear. Thanks for that, by the way, Mansell, for telling me, because obviously some people don't say it in the chat, so it sounds like I'm talking to myself the whole time. But you said both adversaries have a qualified. Oh, he's in the wall, Smithy. But you said he's have qualified bad anyway, so I don't think it really matters. But he's both avatars. Yeah, both avatars are out there on the lap, but not on the lap, but out there on the out lap, so I don't think it will count. Has your settings been Alright, so Energy Dan then has left this session, left the party, so hopefully he'll join back very quickly and he can get things up and running again. He's got a new PS4 system update, so that's why you can't really hear him, so he's just adjusting settings. As we go into this hairpin then, it's a very difficult corner as you carry out, well, you have to go down through the gears, break a straight line and get traction on the exit, which is quite difficult itself in the try, but in the wet it'll be even more difficult there. So let's see how hard it is for people to try and fight with the traction control at the exit of the hairpin. We've got Mackett coming towards the final two corners, so I'm going to go on board with him. Nope, he's in the pit lane, so he will not go for flying lap, but he goes sideways in the pit lane, so he broke it a bit too late there. But I'm just wondering who's on a lap then, as we've got some people making their way towards the final two corners. We've got Harry Kane, who just came out. It's his teammate who's going for a lap, so I'm on board with Laser. Let's see how he manages this track then around this circuit. Are you there, Dan? So 4.3 kilometer circuit. There's an Alpine that's just exited turn 2, but thankfully gets out of the way for our championship leader. You can see fighting with traction there as we make our way down into turn number 3, then braking just before the 50 meter board. Want to use all the curves, be very careful when you got the power too, because they're very sensitive with those curves. Is it working?
Yeah, it will be. I found the setting. It was up to the party settings. I've not changed, so yeah, I should be back now, mate.
You can see his laser squirming there on the exit of turn 6 and turn 7 then as we make our way under bridge. I think this part of the track is one of the most difficult corners in my opinion, because it's so easy to lose the back end of the car. Well, it's so easy to invalidate and also make contact with the wall as well. I do struggle with that part sometimes. It catches me out quite a lot, but as we head into hairpin, it's very important to scrub off all the speed, not to go out wide. So let's see how he does with traction. This is their first lap time, so I think they're going to be a bit tentative until the final limits. They could do multiple runs on the set of inters where JDM's on the wets. He's not doing a proper qualified simulation run because of his qualifying along with his teammate as he retires himself. Here comes Laser then as we make our way down into the final two corners. Let's see if he can spot the braking point, take the cut, which he does do, and get in the power. Just be very patient out there as he makes his way now towards the line. It's going to be a 21.6.
Yeah, massively off what the dry qualifying times are. Just shows you just how technical this circuit is in the wet. So yeah, I mean, we could potentially get down to the 16s or 17s once these guys get used to the wet tyres. Obviously, a lot of these guys are in no TC, so that's another factor in this. But yeah, I imagine those times will improve by a good 4 seconds.
Yeah, they will as well. So Laser there, the only driver to set a lap time. I've seen a few people invalidate their lap times. We've got Birdmeister in the Haas, the man that took a podium at the Spanish Grand Prix in second place. It's 22.4 for him in the Haas, who's just separated by 8 tenths as well. So his lap time is not as great. Relics there getting a bit too close to the wall on the exit of the hairpin, and that might definitely cost him a bit of lap time. I'm not quite sure if he outbroke himself or just carried the speed when he shouldn't have supposed to. Wesker in P4 there, Gamer in P2, the Belgian driver with a 21.7, then only a few hundreds away from Laser, so great lap time from him in the Ferrari. Relics coming towards the final two corners. He's a validate on the exit, which is quite a common around here.
To the final chicane now, mate.
let's go aboard with him then. The McLaren driver. Let's see what he does then as he exits the corner. Harry Kane currently, I think, second in the championship or third. It's definitely one of the two. It's P4 for him.
I've just noticed as well, Indigo, on that first chicane, these guys seem to be cutting it quite aggressively. I'm quite surprised that some of these laps are actually being validated because, yeah, I mean, I always thought what they're doing now, and just watch it on the next guy that goes across, but they are taking it so tight. It looked like it should be invalidated, but it's not invalidating them. So maybe these guys have figured out exactly how you can take that corner properly. They need to tell me exactly how to do that because I can't do what they're doing.
Yeah, use every single part of the track as much as they could get away with. Kuipers in the hairpin has done the exact same as Relics then, so I've got a clear on-board view what happened to Kuipers, so I presume Relics did the same thing, and just outbroke himself plainly, but thankfully they both avoided the wall just there, and it'll definitely cost them a lot of time, especially down this long straight as well, where because they lose the time, that's why you need a good exit cut out of the hairpin. We come into the final two corners, the most obvious place to invalidate. Coming to the wall of champions there, you can see back here wanted to step out, but he saves it really well. Coming towards the line, it's going to be a 23.4 for him. He goes P5, does the Haas driver just behind Harry Kane there in the McLaren, as Oliver in P5 there for Mercedes with a 22.9 then, so good lap time there from the Mercedes. But as you can see, Dan, there's a lot of people having set lap times. Not surprised whatsoever around here.
Yeah, I know I said there could be 116s, 117s here, but from looking at what we're seeing, I don't think that's possible. I think we're probably going to be topping out about 119.8, maybe even 120.3. Obviously, the intermediate tyres not the greatest round here. So yeah, maybe I misunderstood the best tyre time on the intermediates. It's a bit of it's surprising for me because I didn't think this would be a circuit that would be that bad in the wet. Maybe that's a bit naive of me, I don't know, but yeah, I'm shocked at the lap time to be honest with you, Indigo.
Yeah, I am too. And 2022 and 2023, I think we had wet qualifyings on both occasions. But last time it was a wet race, it was just back in 2011, I believe it was. I mean, we all remember that race when Jensen Button came through the pack. I was only about 8 years old at the time. Martin,
was that the 5-stop? Was that the 5-stop win?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I remember that race very well, actually.
Yeah, my dad was telling me all about it when I was young. Very young at the time, so I don't really remember it. I have to watch the highlights a few years ago.
I mean, to be honest with you, this might be controversial, but he didn't really deserve that win. To be honest with you, I think he dropped down to last twice. But yeah, X Gamer goes 121.5. Fair play to X Gamer.
Yeah, so as you can see, his different strategy was in comparison to the likes of Laser and Mackey, because he's done 3 laps on the set of Vinces. That's what you want to do. You want to do continuous laps on the same set of tyres if you can, because it'll go better and better. Oh, Burmeister started out at turn 7, I believe that was, but it looks like he was 5 tenths up alone in the first sector. This is his 4th attempt on a set of Vinces there, so it looks like he's showing some great pace. So, that was so close to chat limits there, Dan. It looks like he just got away with it. Did you see it?
I didn't know, mate, but these guys are really pushing the track limits. They really are.
And Burmeister is almost 4 tenths up in the middle sector, so if he could prove like this, he'll put with the 21s. Harry Kane, by the way, in the McLaren, the Dutchman, doing a great job once again, just behind his teammate of Laser, who's interested in 1 lap on the intermediates then. As we make our way down into the final 2 corners, let's see how Burmeister can hook this up. Had a great race back in Spain, and hopefully we're on course for another one. You can see him sliding to the exit of the last corner there, so might have lost a bit of time as he makes his way towards the line. It might be pole. It is! It's a 21.2! Came out of nowhere. That's 9 tenths up in the last sector. Whoa, he's about 7 tenths up because he improved by 3 tenths, but he found a lot of time. He spins as well out of turn 2.
Yeah, I'm just on board. Oh yeah, I've just seen that now on board with Martin that it's spun on that turn 2. It is a tricky corner, even in the dry. I mean, it's so easy to over-rotate the rear axle and get some spin. There's a slight camber on that corner as well, so it is very tricky. And like I said before, a lot of these guys running no TC, so it adds to the difficulty of getting around that corner. But Martin looks like he's got the car planted quite well. He's a little bit hesitant on the throttle, but he is over-revving to get that traction down properly. So yeah, it could be a good running for Martin. He's in P6 at the minute. Martin very calculated. It was Relks. Oh, Relks, illegal blocking. Oh wow, what's that? Is that on it? It looks like Relks has been caught out at turn 2, between turns 2 and 3, blocking someone quite severely. So he's actually got a 5+3 penalty.
Yeah, interesting. He just came out the pit lane too as Relics. Sorry, there was a Red Bull. I think that was Glock or Zenom. they were definitely on a slow lap because the Red Bull had to get out of the way. Martin coming towards the final 2 corners, he was improving by 2 tenths. Oh,
Oh, it just invalidates. See, like I said before, the first right-hand corner of that chicane, it looks like the drivers are absolutely nailing. And I think Martin's the first driver I've seen that has actually failed to do the second corner, but it's so easy on that chicane, even in the dry. So, you know, these drivers are doing really well as it is to put these lap times down in the wet. Canada's not the best in the wet, but I am actually quite surprised at these lap times. I did think they would be slightly faster on these intermediates.
as you can see the top of the timer sheets there, Gamer, Burmeister 4 or 5 laps, whereas Laser's only done the 1, whereas his teammates on a different run plan who's done 4. So the more runs you do on the inters, the more it'll benefit you as well, with the more grip, and the tyres don't overheat as much as well, like the soft compound tyres, because there's more surface area. As MDJ is 5 tenths up then in the middle sector. What a great comeback drive after he made contact with Glock, who's here again at the Canadian Grand Prix. Hazara, last week's race winner, is here, and he joined the session very late, so hopefully he can get a lap on the board, because 3 of them, Relics, Mansell and Hazara, I think Relics is on a lap now, whereas both Alpines are still in the pit lane and both AlphaTauris have... Oh, Relics again, what's he doing?
Relics, just seen, yeah. Just to add to what you were saying about the tyres, there's another penalty for someone there. 2 seconds, race director. Yeah, I was just saying about the intermediate tyres, and obviously doing more laps on them is counterintuitive, not counterintuitive, it's intuitive to a good lap time. It livens the tyres up, and also it means the guys that like to run slightly 1 or 2 clicks on the tyre pressure, it means that you get a little bit more wear on the intermediates, and they do seem to come more alive once you take off a little bit of wear of them. But there is a very slight window between being good and being bad. The intermediate tyres are a very strange one.
Yeah, they are. They're like, apparently they're softer than the soft compound tyres, that's what I've heard.
So, sorry, I'm just looking now. Relx has got 2 grid penalties. He got a grid penalty on his 3rd lap, and then another grid penalty later on in the lap. So I'm not sure what's happening with Relx, but he's got 2 grid penalties. So if he gets, let's say he gets pole position, he'll be down in P11.
Oh, Harry Kane, it was a 21.777, that would have been into P2, but unfortunately invalidated in that final corner. So, Clark goes quickest now in the Red Bull.
Wow.
Now it's on
That's
between
tasty.
all the drivers.
Yeah, that's tasty. Now, another thing to mention as well, this rain, it doesn't look very bad. It looks like the lightest sort of intermediate conditions you could get. So I imagine once these tyres get a little bit of wear in them, they do start to act like a crossover between the slicks and the intermediate. I mean, technically speaking, you need to run these at least 10, 11 laps before that really happens, but it certainly seems that the more laps you do on these, the more alive they come. I mean, looking down, Harry Kane on 6 lap old intermediate, so he's certainly trying to get his money's worth out of those tyres. But this indicates to me that it's going to be a wet race, Indigo. If these drivers are doing so many laps on these tyres, they're either doing one of 2 things. They're preparing for the race that's going to be wet, or they're just trying to get the first set through as much as they can so they can do a hot lap on one set at the end. But there's quite a few drivers on 6, 5 laps. There's a few on 3 laps. There's only a few drivers really. Half the field are on fresh tyres now. So I don't know if we're not in the know, if they know something we don't. Something's definitely going on. What do you think, mate?
If it's wet during the race, do you think these people that are doing a lot of long runs on the inters could be saving a set of inters for the race as well? So that could be also another factor.
Absolutely.
It's very interesting. We've got Kuiper, who's on a brand new set of inters now. We've got Casti on 3 lap old inters. So I'd love to see all these different run plans for everybody, because Laser, how many laps has he done on a set of tyres? Only 2. I think that's the max he's done so far, which is 2. So he feels very comfortable not doing more runs than 2 laps on the set of inter tyres, with everybody else is doing about 5 or 6 laps. And Wesker up into P12. He's improved his lap time by 9 tenths, so it's a 22.55, and he's just currently outside the top 10 as well. But Casti, a few hundreds down in that middle sector, is the Aston Martin driver. So can he make up the time in the final 2 corners? And let's see how he does then towards the remainder of his flying lap in the Aston Martin, just ahead of his teammate as well in P8, and he makes his way towards the pit lane then, so he doesn't feel like he'll improve. We're going to go on board Kuipers now, as he's one of the drivers on a flying lap. Same with his teammate, who's down at turn number 10.
I've got some info for you, Indigo. So obviously we saw the first 5-place grid drop for Relx, which was obviously for the blocking coming out the pit, and then apparently he got another 5-place grid penalty for bumping into Mackett. So that's hot off the press from the global chat. So Relk's not going off to a best start. I mean, you can't start 27th, so he's all right. You know, he's not going to be a massive. Oh, Bymaster going fast with 20.781. So yeah, that's the lowdown on Relk, mate.
Yeah, Velix has been involved in some incidents, unfortunately for him, and his teammate down there in P15 as well, so both Alfa Romeos are down there. Same with Mansell and Hazara. Hazara hasn't really came out of the pit lane. I've not really seen him been out there. Mansell is now in the Alpine, but Hazara, last week's race winner, is still down there in P18. Kuipers, by the way, at turn number 8, who just slid off the track there. He just had a massive oversteer and unfortunately ruined his lap time then. But luckily he kept out of the wall because that could have been so close to losing his tyres. But it looks like he's going for it again on a second flying lap. Looks like somebody else has moved up the order. Is that Martin in P5? Yeah, it is Martin. With 21.3 then on a brand new set of the Inters. Qualifying has absolutely flown by because we've got about under 2 minutes left to go. It's just unbelievable how quick
one,
it
mate.
can go.
Sonic Hawk was 4 tenths up at Sector 2 exit. He's now about to cross the line. This could catapult him up to P8 if he gets a good traction exit. Looks like he has. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is. P7, yeah. Great lap from Sonic. He needed that. Really good lap from Sonic.
It is indeed. And I think he could have found a bit more time in the final 2 corners because it looks like he was taking it, I don't want to say slowly, but just cautiously. So if he can just have a bit more confidence in the final 2 corners, he could really be up there as well. He is up there, but further up the grid than he originally is. So we've got majority of drivers on a flying lap then, and Burmeister's on pole so far. He's coming towards the final 2 corners to start another lap time there with 1 minute left to go. This is Burmeister's last lap now. Glock, let's see what he could do in the Red Bull then as he makes his way towards the end of the first sector. Oh, it's a few hundreds up, 400 up in the first set. So it looks like he's a bit hesitant going into turn 6 and turn 7, just tiptoeing. But it looks like these conditions are eased off. They weren't as bad as early qualifying. Looks like it's eased off just slightly there. So these drivers might have had a bit more time. Hence why we're seeing quite a few drivers improve in the first set. Glock there negotiates turn 7 and turn 8 really well there, just threading the needle through the corner. What's happened?
Kuipers, he inadvertently got a slipstream. Going across the line, and he went up to 3rd place. He was sitting down in like 10th place or something. So Kuipers just got the best. It was from the Merc driver as well. He got a slipstream from the Merc driver and went into P3. Being dropped out of P4 now. Glock just put a great time, 120.792. So the lap times are improving on this last lap.
Yeah, Gamer is up into P1. It's pole for him with a 20.4. But what about Glock? What can the Red Bull driver do after being so high up in Spain and qualified? He comes towards the line. It's a 20.2, and he takes it by, I think, under 2 tenths then. So great lap time there. But we've still got more to come. We've got Burmeister, who's a huge half a second quicker in the middle sector there. So let's see if he can find the time in the last sector to try and boost it as well. It looks like a decent exit, sliding as well out of the final 2 corners. Not been his strongest point, those final 2 corners. Lost a bit of time, and it's P2 only for him. Mackett in the Williams goes quickest. Wow. The first man in the 19s then. So these times are tumbling down now. Gamer's right behind the Red Bull. He's improved by 10th, but there's a bit of traffic there. Mercedes get out of the way. Gamer's sliding to the corners as a Red Bull right in front of him. Is that Glock in P2? No, it's Zenom.
Is that Glock? Is that Glock?
Yeah, I only just realised what I said now. Yeah. but Glock.
Martin across the line, and he goes. Ooh, P6 for Martin, 127.29.
Keep an eye on Glock because he's 5 tenths up in this middle sector. Can he snatch back pole position? Getting in the 19s as well, as MDJ has retired unfortunately, so Canada proving not to be a track for him unfortunately, like he was back in Monaco, a street circuit. As he comes towards the final 2 corners now, does Glock. Can he snatch pole position heading into the final 2 corners?
I think he can.
Harry Kane in P2, but let's see what Glock can do. It's going to be pole.
Fair play. Yeah, great final lap.
Wow, I enjoyed that qualifying session. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, very good, yeah.
Relics there will start down in 24th if it was back in 2012, but he will start in last place. 10 place grid penalty, unfortunately. So I've never seen that. I never seen a driver pick up 2 penalties in the space of 1 qualifying session. So unfortunately for him, he'll start down in last place. But what a grid that is.
Yeah, I mean, really good. I mean, I'm not surprised there's quite a big deficit in the lap times between P1 and last place. It's wet. Not everyone's great in the wet. If we have got a dry race, I suspect there's going to be a few changes. But yeah, I'm not entirely shocked that there's a big deficit between P1 and P10, let's say, because not everyone likes the wet. But you have to really manipulate the wet conditions, you really do. And you have to have your setup just right. People might have had the setups changed between qualifying and race, knowing that the setups are different, knowing that the conditions are different. We just don't know that as commentators. We can only assume that some people had higher downforce on for qualifying. Is that going to wreck them in the race? You know, after the hairpin coming down the long straight, there's quite a few sections in this race where being on the back of someone is really beneficial. So yeah, the higher downforce opposing to the low drag, it could be a factor in this race, Indigo.
Yeah, Lando Norris suffered back in this year actually at the Belgian Grand Prix when McLaren tried to go for that low downforce setup. I participated in the rain, but never came only in that short period. But didn't really do anything for him as it only came within a few minutes. But yeah, you can have that perfect balance between the downforce and the setups during qualifying and the race. It's a dry race. You never know, it could transfer into a wet race later on. So let's see the tyre strategies for people might go on softs on mediums at the early stage of the race. If the rain does come later, we'll see. So it could be very interesting, this Canadian Grand Prix.
It could. I mean, in the previous games, the two-stop was favourable. In the last two games, so 2022 and 2023, it's been a one-stop without safety cars. Now, I did actually opt for a two-stop last night, knowing that the tyres go off really quick in the dry around here. I did get helped out by a safety car, but I pitted P3 when the safety car came out, 8 laps from the end or 9 laps from the end, and I finished P3 on track. Now, without the safety car, I think I've dropped down to about P8 and made up about 3 positions. So the two-stop can work depending on what you choose. Soft, medium, soft is a very aggressive one. Medium, medium, soft is the safer bet. But generally speaking, on this game, the one stop is the fastest. So I'll be intrigued to see what the guys do. What will trip people up is the tyre wear. It is really bad around this circuit. Just let you know, Indigo, as well, formation lap is off. So once we get going, it is literally straight into the race.
Very good. Then we're just waiting for the drivers to adjust their setups and we can ready it up ready for the race. And I can't wait to see what happens at the first corner as well. Dry conditions, the first time in the dry conditions as well, so let's see if they can all slow it down at turn number 1. Will anybody be aggressive at the start of the race, and we'll see how it all unfolds down there on the first lap. But guys like Hazara, MDJ, who were up there back in Spain, not really been up there this time in Canada, so 2 different tracks obviously, and it's proven to be a difficult track for MDJ. That was the wet though, so you never know, it could have good dry pace. Also Hazara, has he got quality bad, or did he just want to start in last place?
He's just last place, mate. It was only the AlphaTauris that had qualifying bans, Rogue Smithy and JDM. But yeah, just going back onto the what you were just saying then, mate, a lot of it comes down to the fact the chicanes are in there. People who brake well do really well in this circuit. People who use ABS might be disadvantaged because they can't get the rotation. And obviously the brake balance really matters on a circuit like this. So people who use ABS, I know I use ABS and I was disadvantaged last night, you do feel it. I used to not use it, and you can definitely manipulate the car when you don't use ABS. So it's one of the reasons why the tyre light... I'll let you go, mate.
Here we are then, 4 or 5 laps then, Red Bull versus Williams at the start of the Grand Prix, and let's see who gets a better start. And we are underway for the Canadian Grand Prix. Looks like the Williams got a much better launch, so has the McLaren might slip through as Mackie takes the lead. Harry Kane in P2, Glock has lost 2 positions, might lose 3 now with Burmeister up the inside 2 on the Red Bull then. So the Red Bull got bogged down and has lost 3 positions already then at the start of the Grand Prix, but he's still side by side as we heard into turn number 3. Burmeister has the racing line, maintains P3 then, so unfortunately for Glock, has lost 3 positions. As you can see, jockey for position going down in the midfield here, but not a lot of position changes as we expected. But it looks like they all got away unscathed. Oh, yellow flag just comes out as soon as I said that. There's an AlphaTauri of JDM who looks like he's dropped down the field and he's in last place and he's quite far behind too. Russ Smithy has overtaken MDJ. Looks like he's dropping down as well. He's get out of the way for people, so I think he might sustain some damage to that Mercedes, and he has. So that's a trip to the pits as the Alfa Romeo, I think that was Relics who gets out of shape, coming out of turn number 8 as he actually going for overtaking his teammate, going down into the hairpin then.
Just looking down the field though, mate, I think we got a really clean getaway there. There seems to be a bit of a gap between the midfield pack and the leaders now. But yeah, we've got a really clean getaway there. Really, really impressed by the Division 1 drivers there. Absolutely no incidents that we know of, apart from MDJ that got damaged.
Yeah, there's always going to be, it's especially there's a McLaren of Laser who's weaving left and right, maybe to get a temperature. But here comes Harry Kane up the inside. He's on the medium compound tyres like we saw back in Spain, different strategies. But Mackett is alongside him now with better traction around the outside into turn 3. Mackett maintains the lead ahead of Harry Kane then. So Harry Kane's strategy, as you can see, there's position changes in the midfield. There was Hazara making up some ground after starting this up. He's in the wall and he's hit the wall as well, and he's lost. I think that's Mansour. I think he managed to keep his front wing intact. I don't think no elements fell off that front wing, so he keeps it for the time being. But Harry Kane then on the medium compound tyres wants to make as huge ground as he possibly can, so he needs to dispose Mackett as quickly as he can around here in Canada as well. While the DRS is not enabled, Mackett can try and keep the McLaren behind, but yeah, Harry Kane forcing the moves. As you can see, the Aston Martin there with the Haas of Kuipers. What's happened?
So Indigo, Glock got a really bad exit out of the hairpin as he was chasing down Burmeister, and it really neglected his exit, and then he got caught by X-Gamer on his left hand side and made contact. So X-Gamer is going to be all over him now, literally. I think by the second chicane he's going to be literally fighting for it. But yeah, Glock really struggling on those hard tyres. Needs to get up to temperature quicker than this.
Yeah, round 2 between Mackett and Harry Kane, and looks like Mackett, has maintained P1 once again then, so great defending from the Williams and attacking too when he had to do it. But he knows Harry Kane's on fresher tyres, and it's very good for his progress to keep it behind there to try and reduce his progress later on once he switches over to the hard compound tyres. So this is frustrating there for Harry Kane in the McLaren. Wants to get past that Williams, but it's proven to be an obstacle in the way so far, and he needs to use these tyres to capitalise to try and overtake that Williams. It looks like he struggled going into turn number 7 and turn 8, so we'll have that McLaren all over the back of him. But Mackett, if he does get overtaken by Harry Kane, can he stay in the slipstream and DRS? As you can see, Harry Kane there. Oh, the Williams slided to the corner, just locked his rears up, and it broke a bit too later, and the rears just locked up there, as I experienced on Saturday with the D-Max cars. And Harry Kane then all of the... Oh, looks like Reddix has spun, I think, further down the field. And here comes Harry Kane then, gets a much better, well, with the helping hand of DRS.
Mine's spun. Mine's now down in P18, mate. He's just done something wrong at the hairpin. He's now down in P18. He was that P7 in front of Oliver. So something's happening with mine.
Oh, it's a shame there for the Aston Martin driver who had a great qualified start to P7 and now has dropped down. But Harry Kane early in this race has unfortunately picked up a 3-second time place. So was Kuipers down in P7 too, so and Relics as well.
Well, I was just on the race director then, Indigo. Sorry for interrupting what you were saying there, because as I came back from the race director, I saw Martin spinning. But just checking the race director, there are literally dozens and dozens of warnings already. So as we predicted, there is going to be a lot of penalties in this race, mate. So the reason I checked the race director was I was going to say Martin and Oliver are probably one of the most meticulous drivers in this league, and they were going to be really on for a good showing tonight by being penalty free. And then all these penalties started coming through, so that's the reason I was on the race director screen. It's going to be so difficult for these drivers to actually keep position, especially like Harry Kane, who's now in the lead. I do suspect 90% of this field will have some sort of penalties. We might even see 9 seconds for some of these drivers.
It can have a huge impact towards the race. You can find yourself tumbling down the order. So if a late safety car comes out, it could change a lot of people's races in a flash. But Wesker looks like he's all over the back of the Mercedes of let's have a look. Who is it? It's the Ferrari, sorry. And I was just looking at the Mercedes further up, and he goes down the inside of Sonic Hawk as Oliver has overtaken this yellow flag once again. Looks like Kuipers has had a moment coming out of somewhere. Let's have a look. Is that turn 1 and turn 2? Yeah, it looks like he's made a big mistake there. Unfortunately, has dropped a few positions as he was in the top 10 earlier, but something happened to him down there. Not quite sure if he locked the rears up or just made contact with somebody going side by side, but anyways, he's down to P14 now, and let's see if he can recover from there. There's a huge DRS train though from the top 5 between Harry Kane and Gamer in P1 and P5. Cassidy 3.2 behind, so the second group has actually dropped off dramatically. So I'm not quite sure. Oh, looks like Glock has overtaken Burmeister somewhere. Yeah, down at the hairpin, but Burmeister does the switchback as Glock went out deep. And now they're side by side once again. This is great racing. They both have DRS, I think, off the back of Mackett. And I think they will with the DRS open now. As you can see, Mackett is overtaking the Harry Kane, going side by side with him, as the Haas and Red Bull still at it. But what about the Yorda? You can't afford to go side by side through here, lose a lot of time, and also pick up penalties and warnings or probably crash as well.
This is Oliver getting past Cassidy down the straight before the last chicane, or the Wall of Champions. But just looking behind from Cassidy and Laser, Wesker, Sonic and Rogue Smithy. Rogue Smithy's really making a pass now on Sonic Hawk into turn 1 on the inside line, and he does it cleanly. Fair play for Rogue Smithy. He's on a charge now, chasing after Wesker. Now, we've got Sonic Hawk, Rogue Smithy, Wesker, Laser, then Cassidy, then Oliver. They're not that far apart. There's a little bit of a gap between Wesker and Laser, but Rogue Smithy is on an absolute charge here. So just bear in mind, Rogue Smithy might be a contender later on in this race, as long as he can keep it clean.
Yeah, Rogue Smithy, I think, has made up the most positions. He started on 18th, up at the 10th, so gained 8 places. And Sonic Hawk has been overtaken by Hazara, also on a charge as well from P17, as Cassidy's been overtaken by Laser.
Zenon at the back spinning, sorry mate. Zenon at the back at end of sector 1. Looks like he has an issue. Looks like he's got going again now, but it looks like the second chicane, he had an issue. He's dropped way back now, and I imagine, I don't know why he'd want to retire, but I think he's probably going to retire, mate. But he needs to stay out. There's going to be safety cars in this race. There really is.
Yeah, safety cars are a high chance, but obviously with a lot of people picking up penalties, it might gain something from that too. So just try and stay in this race and try and see if he can gain anything from it. But Harry Kane there's still in P2 then, so he hasn't really got the job done as he would have wanted, but he made up some great ground after starting in P3, overtaking Burmeister and Glock as well, but he hasn't really been able to challenge for the lead that much because Mackett's pace has been fantastic. As you can see there, the Williams coming out of turn number 7, turn 6, so just sliding around just a bit on the rear end, as Harry Kane there will be hunting him down. But if he can defend like this on the hardcore power tyres, then I think Harry Kane might have a problem later on once those mediums start fading away then. So Harry Kane couldn't really attack Mackett as he would have wanted to pull away, because Mackett was able to respond in every single situation that he's been in. He overtook him the lap before too, so Mackett's pace has been phenomenal this race so far. And can he keep those guys behind, because he's got 4 drivers right behind him also in this DRS train as well. It's so hard to break out the DRS train, especially with 3 DRS zones around here. And two of them are here so far, as Hazara up into P10 ahead of Rose Smithy. And let's see how that battle's going down at the final 2 corners. And looks like Rose Smithy's overtaken Hazara. Back up into P10 he goes.
I'm just looking as well, mate. Laser is losing tenths, literally tenths and tenths and tenths. I'm not sure what's going on with Laser, but he's not having a good time. He's now got Oliver on his virtual safety car. So we've got virtual safety car for, can't see,
Sonic Hawk.
Is it Sonic Hawk? Okay. But yeah, Laser's really struggling. I'm not sure what's going on with Laser, but even now behind the virtual safety car, he's dropping. He's come back up a little bit now. Yeah, he was just dropping and dropping and dropping. So something's going on with Laser. He was basically the start of the mid-pack. We had Mackett all the way to X-Gamer, and then Laser all the way down to Hazara, and then the third group of JDM all the way down. So there's 3 significant groups in this race. Not sure how it's going to play out, because there's definitely 3 races going on within this race. And we're going green again, and DRS is enabled.
It looked like Harry Kane had a really good virtual safety car restart, because it was alongside before the virtual safety car was disabled. But Mackett there maintains P1 from the threat of Harry Kane, who has DRS. Burmeister, however, has dropped out the 1 second range of DRS, as Glock has re-overtaken Burmeister. Up into P3 he goes then. So with Glock having DRS down the straight, is he able to get him back in the DRS range and stay there crucially to drag along Burmeister and Gamer as well? But we head on to lap 9 out of 35 then. It's Mackett who leads ahead. who leads. With the Ferrari down the inside, that was Gamer on Burmeister, but not enough room to go side by side on that occasion. I think Rose Smithy is challenging Hazara, sorry. But Hazara has re-overtaken, but it goes a bit deep, and it allows Rogue Smithy side by side, but with the outside line he gets much better traction, and he maintains P9 ahead of Rose Smithy. So those two continuously scrapping, and they made up great ground so far, and they're in the top 10 as well for good measure. So let's see if they can keep it up and how many positions they can gain, because it looks like they both got some great pace. It's a shame about the qualifying ban, and also Hazara not decided to go for a lap, so he must have thought he had some confidence in the Alpine and great race pace tonight to try and claw his way up through the field and have a challenge, as he won the Spanish Grand Prix last time out.
I'm just watching Mackett as well, mate, on those hard tyres. They're now 8-lap old hard tyres. We've got a yellow flag. It looks like an AlphaTauri. Is it an AlphaTauri? I don't know. But yeah, it looks like the hard tyres are really starting to struggle under braking. The medium tyres that are slightly worn now just seem to be a little bit better under braking. I don't know if it's because these hard tyres don't have the right temperature at the minute. I don't know. But it certainly looks like Harry Kane has got the upper hand under braking over Mackett at the front. As we see Glock now, right on the back of Harry Kane. He's sucking those gearbox fumes. He's literally in the mix now. This is the closest we've seen Glock to Harry. So Harry's now under pressure. JDM gets it for 5 seconds out of speed in the pit lane. But yeah, Glock seems like he's back on track now. Well within the DRS. He's on the back of Harry. So as we just see Harry get a little bit twitchy as he tries to put the power down going through that chicane. So yeah, Glock certainly putting pressure on now to Harry.
I think rain's on the way too, so Harry Kane, I just saw some, is it raining? I'm not quite sure. Or is it my eyes deceiving me? Can you see a bit of rain on the screen?
No, it's hard to tell. Yes, I think I saw it then. As we see Glock go down the inside, make contact with Harry Kane. Yes, it is raining, it's starting to rain, so there you go. That's why in qualifying they were doing multiple laps on the intermediates. So, they're going to probably do one more lap, the rain's going to come. As we see Harry Kane on the left-hand side as we're approaching the Wall of Champions. He breaks early. Glock gets it, exiting. Who's going to come? Oh, Glock gets really rear happy on the rear traction and just lose it. But Harry Kane came out worse. He's not going to get it. So Glock maintains the P2 position coming into turns 2 and 3. The rain is coming. So maybe the guys that were on mediums it was the right call. But yeah, this makes sense now, Indigo. What we saw in qualifying about them doing multiple laps, it was exactly what we said. They knew the rain was coming in the race.
And Kuipers is avoiding it too by retiring in the pit lane as Harry Kane gets out of shape in turn 6 and turn 7. Had a bit of a wobble on it too. And I think loads of drivers will suffer at this stage, especially with the dry compound tyres on, because the rain takes a bit of time to just soak in the track to make it wet to go in the intermediates. But Hazara up into P7 ahead of Oliver. He's made some great moves as well. Has Hazara up into P7, he goes ahead of the Mercedes. He has picked up a 3-second time penalty, but a lot of drivers here tonight have as well. But let's see then when these drivers decide to pit, and looks like the top two have actually disposed Glock. Harry Kane now, and Glock is outside the 1 second range of DRS as Gamer on the mediums too, looking handy in P4, now overtakes Harry Kane as he moves himself up into P3 ahead of the Dutchman. But he gets a bit deep, he has to go to the track, bumps over the curves, will Harry Kane get him back? He doesn't have the DRS, does the McLaren driver, whereas Gamer does, so he uses it in defence mode to stay ahead of the McLaren for the time being. But Harry Kane there looks like he's struggling a bit so far on the grip of those tyres, whereas Gamer, who's still got some good life left in those tyres, up into P3, and Glock has gained the time on Mackett then, so he lost the lead of the Grand Prix on the first lap, well, the first corner, and now he wants to pick up that last ground after having a great pace in qualifying to show it here in the race as well.
Yeah, this is really interesting because it's not actually raining properly. The medium tyre guys are going to be more beneficial here. The hard tyre guys are probably a little bit disadvantaged, but not too much yet. It's not really raining yet. This is still technically slick tyres. We've not seen the deactivation of DRS. So I don't think this really changes much apart from the medium tyre guys will have an ever so slight advantage with grip and acceleration. So I imagine X-Gamer and Harry might just close this gap a little bit. We'll get another yellow flag at the hairpin. As we see the Alpine driver of Hazara just get a little bit twitch happy. Hazara must have had a spin under braking, or half spin under braking, going through the hairpin, because he's lost position now to Rogue Smithy. Rogue Smithy pushing really hard on the back of Laser. Medium tyres versus hard tyre. As Rogue Smithy gets a penalty for cutting the chicane, the second part of the chicane. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 2 or 3 laps with this rain. It looks like it's getting a little bit heavier. This is going to start affecting the hard tyre runners first. But bear in mind that the medium runners are just about getting to the life of their tyres if they've been pushing. I imagine they have been. If they were going for a 1-stop, they were going for a 2-stop, definitely dead. So yeah, this is a bit of the unknown for commentators. We don't know what these guys have been doing, but hard and medium tyres are certainly going to start being different in the next half a lap.
So what happened to Hazaru as he spun at the final corner as yellow flags are shown down there? What happened to him? I'm not quite sure. I only saw him cut the corner. He looks like he lost
the hairpin. He had an issue at the hairpin, mate. He lost it under braking, I think, or under acceleration. I think that might have cooked his tyres. I don't know. I'm only assuming, but he definitely had an incident at the hairpin, and that might have contributed to whatever incident he had later on.
Because there was 2 guys right ahead of him too. Here comes Glock. Wanted to go in the pit lane at the end of this lap because Hazaru has, but these two decided to stay out there as they constantly traded first place between each other. Glock and Mackett is back in the lead of the Grand Prix then, so it's going to be a great race between the two, Mackett and Glock, and let's see what happens further behind with Gaiman then up into P3, defending from Harry Kane, and Burmeister further down is on the hard compound tyre. But this is a strange one as Cassidy is in the pit lane. It's raining, but the immediate tyres is coming towards the end as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically it's such a crossover between tyre life. I know for a fact the medium guys are definitely clinging on for dear life because it is too early for intermediates, far too early. The hard tyre guys are going to start struggling with traction, but the medium guys are start struggling with tyre life. It is such a strange position of this race to be in because they're both going to be having issues of their own right, but for different reasons. So penalties galore, traction issues, but I think it does look like there's a sort of a line appearing that I think it's on that point now where people should be pitting because it does look like it's starting to pull a little bit on the track. You're getting that little line from the car in front, so I think it's now or never. I think now is the time to pit Indigo.
Yeah, it looks like the track is soaking even more. Burmeister is up into P4, but I think the top 3 have stayed out. So is Harry Kane and Burmeister. So these guys thinking it's not the right call. DRS is still enabled, but you can see there the raindrops now on the track. It looks like it's getting wetter and wetter. So I'm not quite sure. Looks like there's 3 drivers in the pit lane now. Oliver, Laser and Rogue Smithy. Oliver's got a speeder penalty, so that's a 5-second for him.
I think we're literally at that stage where fresh intermediates, even though it's not ideal, are going to be a faster tyre. That's what I genuinely think, mate.
Yeah, look at the track now, it's starting to soak in a bit more, so get more greasy and more slippery for the guys on the drive. So let's see who's made the right call, because both Alpines actually pitted very early, and it looks like the Alpine Azara is actually in P8 side by side with Lasers, so hasn't got ahead of him, but I think the Inters now are more the preferred tyre. Let's keep an eye on Oliver P6 to see if the gap goes down between him and Harry Kane.
Here's one for you, mate. Oliver is only 23 seconds behind Harry Kane. Let's check. That's our base point. Oliver is the first person in the lead on the intermediates. Let's see what he does against these guys in front, because it's between 19 and 21 seconds for a pit stop round here, and it's already now gone down to 22.8. So I think the intermediate guys are in the better advantage point right now. Maybe. I don't know. It is a bit of a crossover, but I think there you go. Glock on X Gamer pitting. I think that's forced them to do it. It's forced them to do it because I think Oliver was showing signs of increasing his lap time, and the rain is actually dropping. You start to see bouncing off the circuit. It's actually raining now. I
think Mackett has made the wrong call. Hazara has overtaken Laser. DRS is still enabled. That's what I was thinking.
No, it is. Yeah, it is enabled, but I just don't. Like I say, I think it's that crossover between tyre life and the intermediates being fresher rubber. You have to disengage the fact it's raining and just go for the fresher tyre, and you know it's going to be intermediate soon. I think that's why I think the intermediate guys have done it right. Glock has called it. He's gone long as possible. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they've just called it right at the front. But yeah, it was a very strange one from a commentating point of view.
And I think now, as you can see, it's into conditions now. I think Mackett has left it out there too long, because look at the gap between Glock and Mackett already. It's about, without looking at the timing board, it's 15 seconds between himself and Glock, and you said it's a 19-second undercut. So I think Glock will rejoin way ahead of Mackett. He left it out there way too long.
10 seconds easily. I think Mackett and Burmeister they're going to be down in like P11, P12, I think. Let me do a quick calculation. 10, 11, 15. No, sorry, they're P7, P8 maybe when they pit. So Mackett and Burmeister pitting now. I imagine they'll come out just behind Wesker. Maybe behind Cassidy if he gets a good entry and exit through turns 1, 2 and 3. We'll soon see. They're dropping down the order.
We're about to find out then what happens between Harry Kane and Mackett. As you can see, they're dropping right behind. Oh, sorry, Mackett and Burmeister. Sorry, look at that. Mackett actually rejoins at P3, so I thought he lost a lot of time. Burmeister, it's a short, such a short pit lane, and also feeds into track as well. Down at missing turn 1, so I think that's what got us confused there.
Hang on, I am so confused how Mackett has retained P3.
I thought he lose a lot of time.
Did I read that wrong? Because I could have sworn he was only 7 seconds in front of P3. I must have read something wrong there. I must have read something wrong because, wow, yeah, I don't understand how Mackett's got in P3.
I think you must have like.
I must have done something wrong there because that was. I had him down for like P7. Oh, Wesker has gone P9. Oh no, sorry, who was it? Burmeister, P5.
And Mackett,
yeah, I must have read it wrong. Sorry, mate.
That's fine, mate. Don't worry. I was confused too. I thought he'd be dropping down the order, but actually maintained P3. He has 1 lap difference in the tyres, but bearing in mind though, it is quite difficult to overtake. But look at that, DRS is still enabled even in these conditions. Then, so
yeah,
it's not been deactivated yet.
So man, I'm just literally checking the stream now to see what went wrong there because. I'm so intrigued why I got this so wrong.
Well, DRS has been disabled. Gamer picks up a 3-second time penalty there. I think Harry Kane has got 2 penalties, 6 seconds now, so that'll definitely drop him down a place or 2. Burmeister hasn't got any, but he's 4.7 seconds behind, and he's lost a huge amount of time as he was in this DRS train. But staying out there 1 lap too late has cost him. Mackett has lost him 2 positions. He was in the lead initially, then Glock took it back, and Gamer is in P2 as well. So Mackett there in P3. It'll be very difficult to overtake. Has he got the pace in the rain? Laser versus Hazara once again, and Laser is up to P7. Looks like Hazara made a slight mistake there because you don't really see overtakes happening at that particular part of the track unless it's dry, of course. But Laser there not having a great race so far. The championship leader in P7. He's dropped quite far behind. Not one of his strongest tracks. And ever since I joined commentary, Dan, Laser said to me, "I win the race." Oh, contact between the AlphaTauri and the Alfa Romeo. That's Relics and Rogue Smithy there, and Rogue Smithy came out worst of it, and Relics there as well, who came out unscathed, and he only lost 1 position due to that. As Oliver picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. So you can see there a lot of drivers, almost all the drivers picking up penalties. The one that hasn't, and if a late safety car does come out, and there's a multi-car battle with the Alfa Romeo in the wall there, as MDJ just was right behind him at the time, but I'm not quite sure what happened to that to him, so he drops into P17. But
so before all the incidents happened, mate, you were saying someone said to you something. You had a really good story. I was following it so well.
yeah, Relics has retired in the pit lane. I'm quite sure why he's done that. He was in P12. He said every driver scores points considering where they are.
Yeah, precisely.
What was about to say? Sorry, what I was about to say was...
yeah, you go, mate, you go.
Laser said he will win races now that I'm here, but he hasn't won one.
Yeah, he's had a bit of bad luck, to be honest with you. But yeah, just going back to the stream, mate, I did check, and Mackett and... who was it? Hazara were 11 seconds in front of P3. So theoretically speaking, they should have dropped down the order. So I don't know what's gone on. It's very strange, but Mackett should not have come out in P3. I don't know what's gone on. It's definitely not an 11-second pit stop, put it that way. I'm sure it's a 19 or 18-second pit stop round here. So either something happened with P4 on the chicane, or something's gone wrong, because there's no way that Mackett made up 7 seconds on the pit exit. It's very strange. So that's So I had to go delve into that because I knew I wasn't that wrong about a pit stop. So that's the lowdown on that, mate.
I'm quite confused as well, so I might have to watch that back to see what happened because I thought
Yeah.
he dropped further behind him, staying out there on those inters because those guys were rapidly gaining on the dry, the people on the dry tyres. But Harry Kane looks like he's got some decent pace in the wet conditions, and now he's putting Mackett under pressure. So P1 he was in the drive for P up in first place, but this time around looks like he's struggling in the wet conditions. Then as Harry Kane is crawling all over the back of it, but it looks like Mackett's got a decent exit there as Harry Kane was trundling out of the hairpin there, not getting the traction he would have wanted as Wesker picks up a 3-second time penalty, and you'll see a lot of them now during the later stages of this race. And AlphaTauri has got off somewhere down at turn number 4. That's JDM who's fallen down the order too, so let's see what's happened. He's spun, I think.
Just a quick one as well, Indigo. Just jump on board with Burmeister. I think something's wrong with Burmeister. He's really struggling for traction. If you watch him putting the power down, and the front tyres, they just don't seem to be biting at all. He's really struggling. I don't know if he's got damage or anything, but he seems to be really struggling. He looks like he's got his front wing, but I don't know if it's because he's got him wetter. He's only on 4-lap old intermediate, so it should be a problem. But yeah, there's something not right with Burmeister at the minute. He's just not firing this car up.
I think I do remember in qualifying this problem as well, coming out of traction zones like this. He was sliding all over the place, especially at the final 2 corners in qualifying. He lost a lot of time there, so yeah, we're starting to see it once again with Burmeister, whether he's just, you can see they're oversteering out of corners. I think it's just the wet conditions, or his setup as well, because they maybe changed it when it was going to be dry, so it could be a setup issue, a driver thing, or combination of both really.
So just jumping back on board with Harry Kane now, chasing down Mackey. He's within technically the DRS, even though it's wet, and he's really, really close. But as you come down this home finish straight, you can see the tyre lines in the wet track, so it's certainly getting wet now. I wonder if that's playing a part with the setups, because it's got a little bit wetter. There's certain setups are just not firing up properly, whether it's a soft spring rate, tyre pressure, even the aero rake, that ride height. Maybe that's playing a part of it. This could very well be the setup was playing a part of it. Like we said in qualifying, are people set up for qualifying wet or the set up for race wet, which could be very much different. So, yeah, a bit of the unknown for us, but it's certainly apparent that some drivers are struggling now.
Yeah, such as Burmeister. But saying that though, I did see him. The gap was like 3.7 at one stage, but it's got up to 4.1 now between himself and Harry Kane. So Harry Kane still fighting there with Mackett, who's putting pressure on Gamer then. So Mackett was defending, now he could be attacking with the Ferrari. Game is only 1.1, so these guys have got some strong pace. It looks like they all match each other or just lose a bit of time to each other. But Oliver is under huge pressure from Laser and Hazara too, so he's going to have to defend from those two. But his teammate in P3 doing a great job. He's actually now putting pressure on Gamer. He's using that battery. Is he close enough to make a move as he goes alongside him now? Will he be late to the brakes? He'll be late to the brakes here. Looks like they both will. Oh, there's contact! Oh, I saw this coming from a long way away. I reminiscent of what happened in another league race. This exact same thing in the rain, so yeah. I'm not surprised to see that.
I was going to say, mate, if you just flip onto detail of penalties and just behold the penalties that these drivers hold, I think it's safe to say nobody knows who's going to win this race. There's 8 laps left, with some serious penalties going down the grid. I mean, Mackett and Burmeister could potentially still get a podium. Ex-gamer Harry in contention to lose a podium. You got the likes of Laser, who could jump up the order by a good 3 positions, and even Martin, who's down in P11, could jump up 5 positions by the end of this race. I think we've got safety car. Wow.
Yes, Sonic Hawk has just crashed out at turn number 8. I think he's just plainly lost the back end of the car. So, I said the safety car, if it could change a lot of people's races, it's going to bunch up the whole pack. What have you seen there?
I was just thinking... I was going to say, is it drying out? Or is it getting wetter? Are people going to be really silly and going to softs? Or who knows what's going to happen here, but... yeah, I was just saying about the penalties. It's now gone tenfold, because every single person on a penalty, they're all going to get bunched up. So you could have the likes of MDJ, Martin, Mackett.
Oh no!
Drive through Gok. So yeah, like I say, as we said in qualifying, penalties are going to play a massive part in this race. Now we've had sorry, excuse me, got hiccups. Now we've got a safety car this late on. It is literally anyone who's not got a penalty could potentially be on the podium.
And we've got some people pitting onto brand new winters, so could these brand new winters be the way to go? Not for Glock, because he's got a 3-second a drive-through penalty as he crossed the white line at the pit exit there. But Mackett didn't get ahead despite staying out. So,
mate, Mackett, Burmeister, Laser, they are poised to take this. Poised to take it with the amount of penalties. I mean, some guys have got 9, 11 seconds. We've got 6 seconds for Harry. X Gamer only on 3 seconds, so he's doing all right. But yeah. Wow. Yeah. I imagine Martin. Will Martin pit? No, I don't think Martin will pit. He has pitted. Martin has pitted for fresh intermediate, so Martin could very well be very much in a position for a P3 position here. Drive through for Mansell. Oh my god. Wow. Wow.
but Glock, he's had no penalty whatsoever during the race. No 3-second penalty. He was very clean. I don't know how many warnings he's got, but he's just picked himself a drive-through penalty, and that will definitely cost him the race because he'll drop to the back of the field once the safety car goes in, and there's a lot of work to do from there. I genuinely don't know who's got the advantage, you know, because Gamer's got penalties.
Mackett, obviously.
Mackett hasn't, but he's on older tyres, so we saw his pace.
I don't think it'll matter.
We'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, we will. I genuinely don't think it'll matter because no DRS. If he's clever with his braking, not in terms of brake checking, but you know, being nice and steady with his braking to get the lines, not being aggressive, he's going to control the pace on not on the restart, but he's the leader of the pack technically. You know, it'll be X Gamer. If he just really needs to follow X Gamer and use X Gamer as a, I'm going to overtake X Gamer. Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to overtake X Gamer. Oh no, I'm not. You know, use X Gamer as a bit of a dummy run, and all he has to do at some point, wait for X Gamer to make a mistake or overtake him, and then X Gamer's the buffer. So I don't foresee Mackett not winning this race. Burmeister, hang on, I'll tell you what, here's one Indigo. Let's check the warnings of Burmeister, and before I go on, Mackett and Burmeister. So yeah, I'll check that while you're having a ponder about it, mate.
Yeah, I'm really thinking about this now. Glock will have to go to the pit lane at the end of this lap. I don't know how big the difference is, the deficit between, well, Mackett's inters and Gamer's inters, the older inters. Mackett's back into play. I was about to ask what happened to why he wasn't in first place. I remember he spun or made contact at the final 2 corners with Gamer, but it's a shame there for Mackett. But he's up into P3. He decided to change track position instead of new tyres.
So Burmeister, one more warning to get a penalty, but Mackett has only got one warning, so he can be a little bit more aggressive. Mackett's got that cushion. Mackett's got that cushion to do whatever he wants to, whether it's cut the hairpin or cut a chicane if he needs to. Yeah, Burmeister doesn't have that luxury. If he cuts it, he's getting a 3-second time penalty. Mackett, he's got at least one saving grace. So that accentuates my belief that Mackett's going to win this race, mate. Laser doing really well for a P3. I think without something happening, it's going to be Mackett, Burmeister, Laser. Martin could catapult up if there's incidents, but I think Martin's on for a P4 really because they've got a lot of penalties in front. And technically speaking, there's going to be 7 laps of racing. A lot can happen then. I mean, I could be disproved. You know, something could happen to change this race again. There could still be virtual safety cars or safety cars because technically speaking, we're only 2/3 way through this race. Thereabouts.
I can't believe there's only been one safety car during this race as well. So
and a virtual, but yeah.
Oh yeah, only to have one safety car is absolutely incredible. As well as a virtual safety car we've had. So I can't wait to see how the last 7 laps of this race goes. It could have.
It's been mental.
Mackett has the advantage with no penalties, but obviously the guys around him have fresher inters. But Laser, at the beginning of this race and during the wet race too, he didn't really have the pace to match these guys. But now with these guys being bunched up, does he have that pace? I wonder. Can he try and get into the very early doors when the safety car comes in and try and stick with the rest of them? Because that's very crucial now for our championship leader. He knows his championship rival MDJ is further down at P13 then, so he can gain a huge bunch of points as well. Also, MDJ haven't picked up 8th second time. Hurricane, who's P3 in the championship, also with P4 but with penalties. But let's see how it all unfolds now. With the safety car coming in, Glock will have 2 or 3 laps to go around the circuit, then go into pit lane to service drive. That's a shame for Glock, because the second time in a row he's shown some very good pace, but unfortunately has been ruined once for contact at turn number 7 back at Spain, and a drive-through penalty, which has definitely cost him. I think he tried to go to pit lane very quick there to try and stay ahead of his rivals and get ahead essentially as being P1, but overstepped the block a bit. Off we go then for the safety car restart. Glock, would he go to the pit lane immediately? No, he stays out there.
He can't go in the pit lane because the safety car line is further on, so he can't. He's got to go at least 1 lap. If you're further back, sorry, you can actually do that. You can hold back till it goes green, but Glock doesn't have that advantage. You can't do that, mate.
Look at Hurricane then, side by side with Mackett. Does Hurricane have the traction? Better grip, you can see him oversteering slightly as he tiptoes away out of turn number 2. Yes, he does then. He's up into P3. What about the Hassel Burmeister? He will try and force the move, but there's no room there. He gets a 3-second penalty, and they make contact! Burmeister's in the wall! And he's lost his wing there, so what a shame there for Burmeister. Running such a great race, the Dutchman will be absolutely fuming. Another safety car's been deployed too.
There you go then, there you go. Ah, wow. So, yeah, what happened with Burmeister there? Were you on board with him?
It was Hazara versus Burmeister. I think, well, Hazara had nowhere to go really. He was forced to right as he possibly can, and they make contact.
Here's one for you, sorry mate. Burmeister retired on track, which is a penalty, by the way.
Oh, Burmeister, man. It just rage took over, and yeah.
I don't understand, because the amount of penalties involved, he would have jumped up the order by maybe 6 positions with the safety car involved. So it makes no sense for a driver to actually retire when in SFR this season we award points from P1 to P20. It just does not make sense. But anyway, we've got a safety car. We're probably going to get 5 racing laps, I'd say. Would you say?
Oh, somebody just jumped to the pit lane. I think so, mate. It's Hazara, but I'm not quite sure he's pitted to get rid of his front wing because he might have damaged it. No, it's a pit stop to go to brand new set of inters, so that's very interesting. By the way, I'm going to go to the toilet, so I'll be right back. Is that wets? That's wets, by the way.
Oh my god. Right, so Hazara going on wet, so that might be an indication of why. We've also got Cassidy going onto the wets, full wets as well. So very, very strange. We've actually got 2 drivers going the full wets. We've got Hazara and Cassidy choosing to go to the full wets. So it might be an indication that this circuit was actually very, very wet. Now, both these drivers that went on wets are on penalties, so it's going to be very strange. I'm sorry you guys can't see different cars as our lead commentator goes for a toilet, well within his rights to do so. We've been here for a long time now because of this session. But yeah, it's I don't think it looks like full wet conditions. I don't think it does. It certainly looks like severe intermediate conditions, but certainly not wet tyre conditions. And Hazara pitting from what I believe was P7 or P8 maybe. So quite a strange one for Hazara pitting. I'd have personally have stayed there. Obviously we're not racing on the circuit, we don't understand what's going on. We can only go by the graphics. I mean, coming down this unfinished straight, yeah, it does look quite severe. It certainly looks greater than intermediates, but everywhere else it doesn't look that bad. But yeah, Glock, X-Gamer, Harry, all on penalties. We've got a drive-through for Glock that he still needs to serve, by the way. X-Gamer 3 seconds, Hurricane on 6 seconds. Mackett still poised to win this race unless Laser can overtake him on the restart. And then the next 3 drivers all on 3, 9 and 3 with Martin at Ryuglass on no penalties. So I think we could very much see a lot of drivers chop and change. I would not like to try and guess who's genuinely win this race, because Mackett could get a penalty, Laser get a penalty, Yeah, it's safe to say Glock's not going to win it. Very, very, very rare chance that X Games is going to win it. Harry Kane won't win it. Oliver, very slim chance. Martin, although he's P9, technically has a chance. You know, if something happens to Harry Kane and Mackett. So, I would not like to put a bet on this race because with the penalties and everything, wow. It's very hard to see what's going to happen.
Marcus has some strong pace in that Williams so far. He knows 3 people ahead of him have got penalties, so he can't afford to pick up one more warning because the wind's right there. He's going to keep it clean himself as the safety car comes in at the end of this lap. By the way, Laser in P5 might find himself on the podium if he could stay with the pace of these guys, because he's not really been threatening the top 3 so far in this race, but he might find himself on an unexpected podium by not getting any penalties. So that's what we'll talk about with the safety car coming out in very late stages in this race. We can see the timing sheets change dramatically once we cross the finish line of the last lap, but it delays Glock's chances of doing his drive to penalty, as he have to do it again in the next lap or so.
Glock goes.
Here we are then, round the final 2 corners to stop lap 30. 5 laps left to go. Mackett might be under pressure from Laser. I don't think he got a good exit. No, he's side by side with Laser then. So Laser there might fancy a win, you know, if he could stick with it. Mackett breaks later. Does he go out deep? Yes, he does. He goes off the track. Deep. Here comes, there's a contact further down. That's Wesker versus Oliver. And Laser is up into P4 then, ahead of Oliver. Both Williams are fighting with each other as the AlphaTauri there of Smithy there almost get out of shape but stays in P8. So what a dramatic first lap after this safety car then. Laser finds himself in P4. Does he have a chance to win this race? If he does, that'd be incredible to get his second win, not being in the top 3 at all in this race.
I think Mackett's really struggling with these 13 lap old intermediates. Everyone else is on fresh rubber. He's really struggling, mate. Really struggling. So I think a lot of these drivers that pitted have made a great call, because Mackett is not having a great time now and he's panicking. He's seeing this win slip away from him. I know he knows there's penalties, but he also knows that this pace he's got will not do another 5 laps and get the win.
As he's defending constantly from the guys behind there, to be a sitting duck like we saw in Spain with other drivers staying out there on older tyres. It's not benefiting whatsoever. He should have came to the pit lane. He wanted to try position. After that spin he had at the final 2 corners, he just wanted to be there and just try and get a few positions. But Glock's in the pit lane to serve his drive through. Here comes the Aston Martin, but he backs out of it in the final 2 corners. Wise enough to do that, but now he's all over the wall together and he's crashing the wall of champions.
I know,
oh dear.
But Hazara made a great overtake on the full wet tyres. Another safety car. Hazara on the full wet tyre was poised to make a great overtake, and without the contact, he would have done it, mate. He would have had a great overtake. He made it clean. As you commentated then about the contact, Hazara was going down on the left-hand side on a sharper line and absolutely nailed it. So maybe the guys on wet tyres have called this right, mate. Because they are looking very, very strong. Very strong.
As the safety car there got in the way of Hazara, moved to the right very late. Hazara's almost, it was Smithy, sorry, who almost made contact with the safety car as he came out of the pit lane. But wow, this is an incredible race that's going on so far. The wet tyres, the inters, penalties, I don't know. These 3 safety cars have definitely changed the trajectory of this race and definitely will determine
I mean,
towards the end of the race.
We might only get 2 racing laps, mate. Technically, we might only get 2, maybe 3 racing laps of this race.
Surprised Mackett hasn't pitted now. I think he should, because he's down there in P12, essentially nothing to lose. Might as well slap on a brand new set of inters. It just have to grip towards the end because or wets.
We've got penalties 6, 3, 3. Yeah, I think he's in a position now where he just needs to pit. Yeah.
It looks like Cassidy's got a penalty with Jerry there down in P9. I haven't mentioned him at all in this race. Currently running in P9. I know he's been further back in the race with his teammate down there too, but he's running in the top 10 now with no penalties either, so he could catapult up the order too.
Yeah. Oriel Glass was an old, let's call him a GP2 driver, but he was a GP2 driver. We had five tiers back then, but Oriel Glass is a very good racer. Very good racer. I think, is he a champion? I think he's a champion of SF4, to be honest with you. Is he? I'm going to really kick myself here because I don't remember. But Oriel Glass, very, very, very strong racer, mate. He's really, really good. His pace accentuated exponentially over the last few seasons. Very good racer, very clean racer, very tenacious. So, Glass, just look at the fact he's got no penalties. You know, he's very meticulous, very calculated, and this could very much catapult him up to like P4, P5, I'd say.
It could indeed, but what about the wet tyres? Will they be to play? Is it heavy enough for the wet tyres? I'm not quite sure. This looks like similar conditions to qualifying.
It's looking that way, mate. It's certainly... I mean, you're getting that... If you look now on board anyone, you're getting that track through the water. It looks like it could very much be full wet tyres. I mean, you've seen how many people in the last 7 laps and 2 safety cars have gone onto the wet tyre. It is definitely the crossover. Drivers are certainly feeling like the wet tyre is the right tyre to be on. So, it's difficult. We don't feel what these guys are feeling on the track, and it does depend on what they're feeling. But you know, with that many drivers going on full wets, especially Mackie dropping from where he was to go on to full wets, it does indicate that it's a full wet track now.
Laser though in P3 hasn't been in the top 3 throughout the whole race, and now he finds himself there in that position where he hasn't been at all during any stage, right behind his Dutch teammate of Harry Kane. But it's incredible for him because he was quite off the pace, it must be said, during this race as well, being outside the top 5. He was possibly like 6th and 7th as well. But he finds himself in P3 with no penalties. It's very crucial now for Lasers not to pick up any penalties because he knows there's a chance of winning. There's only 2 laps to go. Game has got 3 seconds and Harry Kane has got 9 seconds. I think he has. Yeah. No, 6 seconds, sorry, Harry Kane.
By admission of how this game is, it'll be coming in this lap. I mean, do you not think? I think it's going to force the safety car in, I think, basically. Regardless of anyone trailing, it's going to be in this lap. And we're going to see a race to the finish. I mean, the penalties, I genuinely don't know what to look at regarding penalties. I mean, Wesker, disregard him. Harry Kane, good drop down. We've got Laser, definitely at the minute a race winner. But I think you could see Glock, even though there's a drive-through penalty, Glock could catapult up to P3. You could even have a Uglass P3. Yeah, I genuinely don't know what's going to happen with these penalties and with the tyre life, with the tyre choice. I genuinely don't know as a commentator what to predict. It is such a strange position to be in with the penalties, tyre choice, and just general pace. Indigo, I don't know, mate. I genuinely don't know. What about you?
I don't know, but if Laser can keep it nice and clean with no penalties, you should be winning this race unless he picks up a penalty. That's his target. He can't afford to pick up any more warnings. And look at that, Harry Kane all over like a game. He made contact with him. That could be a 5-second, but looks like he's pulled the trigger then. Harry Kane sliding through the exit. Look at Oliver, God, side by side. Oliver. He's side by side with, but he's boxed in with Harry Kane there too. But Oliver, will he go around the outside into turn 1?
Laser.
And now turn 2, Laser stays there in P3 then, ahead of Oliver.
Indigo, that was a bit naughty by Laser. He kind of squeezed Oliver as he came into turn 1. It wasn't quite a car's width, I don't think. Obviously, we have to see Laser's point of view, but it didn't quite look like a full width was given, and that made Oliver lose that position. But sorry, mate, yeah, you go on, mate. Oh, no, we see Oliver in the back of Laser.
Oh, Laser's lost 2 positions. Oliver's up into P3. What happened to Laser?
Oliver went in the back of Laser, mate. I was saying about Laser and Oliver having a bit of a battle into turn 1 of the restart. Oliver got into what looked like Oliver into the back of Laser, and it looked like the game ergonomics just catapulted Laser over his car. It certainly didn't look like a contact that we should do that. But yeah, it looked like Oliver and Laser certainly coming together at turn 5, I think it was, as Laser just gets back in the mix of it, trying to chase down Wesker, who's got a penalty. But yeah, it did look like a bit of a overreaction from the game contact model.
Yeah, a slight tap can have big
Yeah.
consequences in this game's module, which shouldn't happen in real life. But I saw a multi-core battle unfold down at the hairpin where Hazara, Glock, and Rose Smithy. I think they were side by side at turn 8. With Glock off the track fighting with Hazara. Harry Kane up into P1. He's overtaking Gamer and the exit of turn 2 there. So Harry Kane up into P1. He's got 6-second tabulity. So Gamer now. Let's have a look at the gap between the leader. It's 2.7. Lasers could still win this, but it's 2.8. He needs to stay in under 3 seconds, but the gap continuously increasing then between Laser and Gamer. And that was 3.1, 3.2 now. So it looks like it's a slim chance now for Laser. Further behind, it's an Alpina Zazara who goes off there at turn number 7, that is. So it looks like he's struggling just a bit. He's had some great battles on the track so far in these wet conditions, but he's been locking up the rears too. And that's been what's been cost him in these slow speed corners, as now he's right behind these two.
It is the last lap of the race, Indigo. It really is. Harry Kane leading this race, but with 6-second time penalties. X-Gamer 3, Oliver 3, and Wesker 9. Laser probably only on for a P3, mate. But if you want to take it across the line, mate, you can, mate.
Oh, it's a shame for Harry Kane with those 6-second tablets. He's been up there throughout the whole race, been showing some great moves as well, has the Dutchman, but he makes his way now towards the final 2 corners, keeping the Ferrari at bay as he rounds off the final corner to take P1 on the track. But it will belong to Gamer, who wins the Canadian Grand Prix ahead of Oliver, and who finishes as P3. In fact, it's Oliver who finishes as P3 due to his penalties. Laser is on the podium unexpectedly. Well, you could have expected it towards the late safety car due to everybody being bunched up, but you would have expected it for early doors in the race with his pace. But it's a great drive from Oliver. Harry Kane unfortunately lost the podium, but Oliver Gamer, who's been up there throughout the whole race as well, fantastic drive. Starts the medium compound tyres, I think, along with Harry Kane, and when those wet conditions came, I think Gamer pitted at the right time to rejoin behind all those guys who were there before. But a lot's happened in this race to embrace. 3 safety cars within the last 12 laps of this race, so it's just incredible the amount of safety cars we've had in the last part of the race. But congratulations to the Belgium driver of Gamer there, who's drove a fantastic race. The gap was 1/10 between Laser and Gamer, so that was so close for comfort there. But not a second win of the season for Laser. But Oliver from P11 to P3, Laser P10 to P2. Glock, who starts the pole, had a drive-through, still finished in P4 ahead of Harry Kane, JDM, and Rogue Smithy. Didn't really mention much of them, especially JDM, but both Avataris P6 and P8. But MDJ gained a lot too.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, the AlphaTauri drivers, that is an amazing comeback for those guys. You know, they started way down the field. They got a great comeback on the first lap with the incidents, not incidents, but with the tussling. And they obviously had a great race. Really good outing for the AlphaTauri drivers with the qualifying bans, both of them. So yeah, great. But yeah, really struggled that race to try and predict what could happen. It was so hectic. I, as a commentator, could not really predict what was going to happen there because there's so much going on. I don't know what you felt, Indigo, but I felt that was so hard. I felt we had a good grasp of it, but it was so hard towards the end to try and figure out who was going to be on top there. Although we did think Laser was going to kind of get it, but yeah, really hard to guess what was going to happen then.
Yeah, that was just one heck of a race, and Laser is not happy with Oliver there, and he says it cost him the win. So I thought it was. You said it was more Laser towards Oliver, but let's do it. We'll have to have a look about that one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can only go off what I see on what I'm looking at. It's always different when you look at a point of view. It changes the incident so much. Okay, I'll have to go to the stream because my PS has gone really crazy. I didn't catch the top 3 anyway, but yeah, I'll get the top 3 in the comments box, mate.
Oh yeah, I know what Laser's talking about now, down at turn 7. I didn't see it, but you did, so I understand. I was about to say, if you was talking about turn number 1, I didn't think that would cost him at all, but turn 7, that makes more sense now, with him dropping 2 positions. So Laser could have won this race, but Oliver had different ideas, unfortunately for him. It's 1/10 behind. That 1/10 is just so frustrating, especially when you've been down in P7 throughout the whole race as well, not already having the pace to match the guys ahead. It was just like Glock, Gamer, Mackett, Hurricane and Burmeister all in their own bubble. Then it was Oliver versus Laser throughout the second part. But ever since those safety cars came out, it changed the whole script of the race and put people in different scenarios where people didn't have penalties, knew they'll have a chance of gaining. And that last safety car definitely helped as well, because those guys who struggled before only had 2 laps to go when they had no penalties to their name. So it definitely changed a lot, and a lot to get your head around during this race as well, with the crashes involved and people like not Wesker, Mackett, sorry, he was up there for the majority of the race. Then that spin came. Then he decided to stay out on old tyres, so that definitely cost him. But Gamer, throughout all of it, I think Gamer was the one that made contact with Mackett, so could ask him a question about that. But at the end of it, Gamer came out top.
I mean, I certainly think there's going to be some sort of steward inquiry. Definitely, almost definitely. There's going to be some incidents that are in the stewards. We'll have to see what happens if anyone reports anything, but I certainly think it's not over yet, put it that way.
Yeah, it's definitely over. With post penalties could affect the whole race too. But it's a shame for Harry Kane. He was up there throughout the whole race, and yeah, but he finished at the end further down than he thought would be anticipated. There was no safety cars because you got great pace, but you have to have the consistency too, because safety cars will bunch up and lose all that time you've gained on the guys behind. So if it wasn't for those safety cars, Harry Kane, maybe Glock as well without drive stability, those guys would have stayed where they are. But those guys having contact further down the field ruined their races. So yeah, it definitely changed a lot of things in this race. I know how frustrating it is to have a safety car and have penalties. I experienced myself as well back in a different race with Glock being my teammate at the time, and he's the one that gave me a podium due to him caused incidents. So yeah,
fair play. But yeah, I mean, it was so difficult to follow that race in a way because of the tyre strategy, the wetness, just everything involved. It was so hard to follow, and the penalties. I can't believe that. Well, I can believe the penalties because I said in qualifying it's going to be penalty happy, but some of the drivers actually managed to stay clean. But as we get Oliver and Laser joining, we'll wait for X Gamer if we can. But Laser and Oliver, if you don't mind, just checking your broadcast settings. Make sure in the party settings that you've always got your voice allowed to be shared, mate. Let me know when you're done. Was that Mansell then?
it's Laser.
Ah. Laser, are you good to go? Oliver, are you good to go? Good. Right. Okay. So Indigo, do you want to kick off these interviews, mate?
Yeah, sure. So Oliver, mate, you were fighting with Laser throughout the whole entire race. Yeah, you were fighting with Laser throughout the entirety of this race as well. You had kept changing positions between each other. Then the safety car in lap 23 definitely changed a lot of things. So once the safety car came out, how do you feel about it? Did you expect to be on the podium at all?
Let me stop you there, Oliver. Oliver, let me stop you there. It's such a great no, mate, Oliver. It's such a great gentlemanly thing you're doing right now. And as a league, we really respect what you're doing. Absolutely amazing to owning up to situations. That's fine, but honestly, it's not needed for you to relinquish positions on the podium, mate. We've got astute positions in place. If someone reports it, we'll deal with it. But yeah, we no need to do that, mate. But Oliver, I fully respect what you're doing. Absolutely amazing. Love you for it, mate. You're amazing. You're such a great gentleman, and a great racer of this league and a veteran of this league, and I fully respect that. But let's just leave that for the stewards. If anyone does report it, but for now, mate, let's just celebrate the podium, mate. Yeah. Well, Laser, I mean, obviously, it's very valiant what Oliver's just said there, and I personally, as a league director, as an admin, even as a driver, I so respect what Oliver's just done publicly admitting to his fault. So, I mean, Laser, I'm sure you could admit that what Oliver's just done is amazing. But if something has happened, I would still like to see that you put it in the stewards, mate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I do too, mate. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, full understand that, mate. And I can really sympathise with both parts. Oliver, like I said, fully respect what you just done, mate. You know, publicly owning up, and that is a big thing in racing league, in esports. Being able to go, look, I hold my hands up. That was all on me. So fair play, Oliver. Absolutely well done, mate. High five you on that one. Fantastic. Laser, yeah, I can understand. You're really annoyed that you lost the win. But obviously, we do have an independent stewards review in place, and we'll sort it out. So hopefully, you guys can just continue on racing as you have done normally, because I know there's respect between you two. So hopefully, we can continue that, guys. Okay. Yeah. Right, guys. Right, Oliver, Laser. I think we've covered that enough. You've both been gentlemen about it. Indigo, come on, mate. You go forward with the actual race conditions. Sorry about having to hijack that, but I had to get these guys together and make them hug. But yeah, Indigo, you cheer, mate. But yeah, Indigo, you continue, mate. Sorry about that, mate.
Yeah, that was brave to admit it on the stream and publicly, so I respect you for that too. And I'm still interviewing you, Oliver. Or I don't, I'm actually lost. Am I interviewing you or later?
Yeah.
Still interviewing you. All right. So how did you feel those weather conditions in the race as well? During qualifying and in the race, did you struggle throughout the? How was it adapted to the wet conditions during the dry as well? I was talking to you, Oliver. Yeah, it has, mate. You did a great job on the entire race. I know you had your mistakes there, but you owed up to it, and it was great to see. But during those safety cars, like, is it hard to determine what to do? Because we saw some people go on the wet compound tyres. Did you have in your mind at all think about those wets, or was the inches just the way to go? Thank you for that, Oliver. We'll move on to Lays. Congratulations on P3, but you said you were Linkish P3, so let's see what happens. But we'll move on to Lays and then P2, mate. At the end of the day, it is a great result for you because your championship rivals are MDJ and Harry Kane. So you gain a huge bunch of points on them as well because they didn't really finish in high positions. So P2's did a great result, and no, it's not the second win of the season, but how do you feel about the race overall? Was it quite challenging out there with the dry slash mixed conditions as well, and also with all the safety cars coming out? So how did you feel that went for you? With your teammate Harry Kane in P2, are you two at a party together? Because I thought that Harry Kane might have let you go to like help you chase after Gamer or stay within 3 seconds. So do you communicate with Harry Kane at all? So it's just you two by yourselves then. But yeah, the last two laps of that safety car were very intense. You were in P3 at the time. I bet. Did you expect to be on the podium at all? Because those two safety car or those three safety cars definitely helped you. So what point of the race did you think, oh, the podium might be on for me to now because I haven't got any penalties?
Mute Oliver. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that is a big thing in SFI, is owning up to your mistakes. So yeah, I respect that as well. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I say, let's put into the stewards, mate. But yeah, let's not have incidents tarnish a great race. I mean, before we go, I was going to say one thing. Um, P1, P2, and P3 all started extremely low down, apart from X Gamer. But it was P5 for X Gamer, P10 for yourself, and P11 for Oliver. So Oliver, mute Mike. So it just shows that you guys did something right because even though you weren't at the front of the pack initially, you actually end up being really well finishing, even though you were slightly down. It just shows with the positions gained. So yeah, I mean, great race. Let's move on to. Is it Silverstone we're doing next? I believe.
Austria.
Austria. Oh no! Another boring track. I mean, did I say that out loud? Sorry. Yeah, it's so boring. But anyway, right, we'll leave it there, guys. We've been streaming for quite a while now. But Oliver, maybe by next week you might be able to mute your mic. But other than that, Laser, congrats, mate. Really great finishing. Yeah. Oliver, good stuff, mate. Indigo, as always, mate. He's been great commentating with me, but I'll let you sign it off, buddy.
Cheers, mate. So, Gamer, mate, congrats on P1. how do you feel about the win, mate? Because you picked up a 3 second time penalty, but you had laser coming at you at the end, and at the very end of the race, how did you think of applying that? Because Glock ahead of you had a 3 second time penalty, drive-through penalty, I believe. Then Harry Kane had a 6 second. So, did you feel like, well, at the end of the race, did you feel like it would be close between you and laser towards the end? Oh, oh, is he here? Is Gator here?
No, he didn't join. He didn't join, mate. I didn't invite him.
Oh,
No.
that's-
Sorry, mate.
Alright, then I'll just forget what I said then. So yeah,
Sorry, mate. I'm looking at the party screen. I didn't realise you weren't. Sorry, mate. I do apologise.
it's all right. But anyways, we'll round it off here at the Canadian Grand Prix. What an interesting one that was, from race to from dry to wet, and also with those safety cars changing a lot of things in the race as well. So congrats to Gamer, Oliver, and Laser for the wins and podiums here today. And thank you for commentating with me, Dan. It's been a pleasure as always. This is a great duo.
Yeah, mate. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely enjoyable as always, mate. You're such a great commentator. It's such fun commentating with you, mate. I hope we can keep this going, mate. I really do.
Yeah, me too. And join me and me and Dan back for the Austrian Grand Prix at 7:30 next Tuesday, and let's see what happens there with 3 DRS zones on the straight. So it'll be a big DRS train, but we'll see what happens then. For now, we're done and dusted, and enjoy your weekend for the Singapore Grand Prix. Hopefully that'll be a great race too.